Before we dive into these projects, I'm going to call in the big guns to back me up. See, when I tell people why I think Santa Barbara is so special from an energy transition standpoint, a legit criticism is that I've only lived here for 3 years. That doesn't make me wrong, by the way, but it is a legitimate point. And so, to reinforce my optimism, I would first like you all to hear from a woman who embodies what this county is all about. County Supervisor Laura Capps is a lifelong resident of Santa Barbara County who has dedicated her entire professional life to public service. She had an incredibly illustrious career prior to becoming a county supervisor, including as president of the Santa Barbara Unified School District Board of Education, where amongst other things, she spearheaded the effort to deploy on-site solar at 14 of our community schools, including, that's right, including 6 islandable solar microgrids that provide much needed resilience to the communities they serve. As second district supervisor, Laura has been a relentless advocate for implementing pragmatic climate solutions, which most recently resulted in the county's decision to build 8 on-site solar and storage projects at county facilities, essentially doubling the amount of renewable energy generation capacity on county-owned buildings. And by the way, our 5 county supervisors consist of 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans, and these county solar projects were unanimously approved. It is my privilege to welcome Supervisor Capps.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Tim. Well, great. So Tim told you why we're here, and I get to elaborate why we're here in Santa Barbara. And I'll just amend Tim's slide about we have permission. I think it's safe to say on behalf of Joan and Oscar and Doss, you don't just have our permission as elected officials, you have our pleading enthusiasm. Please help us do this, because government can only do so much. So we're clearly here in a crisis nationally, globally, and what I appreciate about this energy of this room and basic energy of Tim Haid and Leah Stokes is that we don't just say, okay, we're in a crisis, too bad, let's put our head in the sand. You know, the word crisis, as many of you know in Chinese, we have China on the brain a lot lately, is a combination of the symbols of danger and opportunity. I worked for a guy for a long time, many of you probably know him or of him, who took credit for the phrase, don't let a crisis go to waste, Rahm Emanuel. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And I'm going to tell you about 2 crises in Santa Barbara's history that we did not let go to waste. And that's why we're here. It's actually why I'm in elected life, and I'll touch on that a little bit. As you all probably know, but I'm really speaking to those who flew in for this or came from other places, Santa Barbara is synonymous with the modern environmental movement. It's like baked in our DNA. It really is. As a kid who grew up here, Doss grew up here too, it's just who we are as people. And that's because of a crisis, 1969, when 100,000 barrels of oil were spilled, a man-made crisis right off the shores. It devastated the news. That's actually at a time when things could stay in the news for a long time, with the image of birds, seagulls drenched in oil. It was a catalyst on the policy level that led to the Clean Water Act, Endangered Species Act. But what I'm talking about too is the grassroots catalyst that it led, because a group of people right here did not let a crisis go to waste. They formed the Community Environmental Council. They formed the Environmental Science Department, had not yet existed at UC Santa Barbara prior to that spill. In fact, there was just a smattering of environmental science departments across the country, very small. Middlebury was the first. But here, a group of 21 faculty formed a committee. They called it the Committee for the Human Habitat, Friends of the Human Habitat. And they got together and they formed the Environmental Science Department, which, as we can live and breathe, is now a force and brings the people like the likes of Leah Stokes to the Bren Center and et cetera. So that crisis, on a personal level, got me involved. I was born in 1972. Just a few years after. My dad was a professor here, my mom was a school nurse, and oil was just part of going to the beach. I didn't realize that that was not normal. In fact, to this day, I still have this strange likeness of the smell of lighter fluid, because we'd go to the beach all the time, my siblings and I. My mom would keep a jar of a can of lighter fluid on the back porch to douse us, to get the tar off of us, to go into the house after going to the beach. I just thought that that was normal. Then my parents started going to rallies as all of these grassroots organizations started springing up, Get Oil Out, Environmental Defense Center. I started going to those rallies too, and that was my first formation as a young kid of advocacy, of politics, of how you don't just say, oh, this sucks. You say, oh, this sucks, what can I do? And that sprung into a career in politics. So really that first crisis coined the phrase, think locally, think globally, act locally, and we feel it here on a regular basis. That Earth Day that was formed after 1969, here first in Santa Barbara, that idea, is now so big here in Santa Barbara, it's hilarious. It's like a holiday for our entire community. A third of our community goes to the Community Environmental Council's Earth Day. It's just a thing that everybody does. So, but what I've learned as an elected official, it's not just enough to care, you have to have the mechanisms to do stuff. So our second crisis came, fast forward, we have the city of Santa Barbara leading the way in California with a 100% renewable goal by 2030. We have a lot of action happening, but then we had a major crisis, a major tragedy in 2017 with one of the biggest fires in then California's history, burning 280,000 acres, the Thomas Fire. That was December of 2017. Now these things have become so normal, but at that point, it was earth-shattering. Fast forward a few more weeks, and we have a massive mudslide that kills 26 people. So for me, I had been working on the school board trying to get us to be renewable. Our Santa Barbara Unified School District at that time had 0 renewable buildings. It drove me crazy. Yet, it took a crisis for the work that I and others have been doing and working with Craig Lewis. We actually took advantage of that crisis, and we realized schools need to stay open when everything's shut. When literally that highway that all of you came here from today, 101 was shut for 2 weeks. Our schools still needed to feed people. People need to have places to house their medication. We needed safe havens. So we turned Santa Barbara Unified School District into one of the leaders in the country with, as Tim mentioned, 14 microgrids. And now we're at about 70% renewable. That's what we're trying to do with the county as well. So I'll leave you with that, just those 2 examples of the climate action that's happened, but I will tell you, it takes a crisis. Unfortunately, I think that is a necessary ingredient, and we are in one now. We don't need to go into it, what's happening nationally, but I can just tell you, Santa Barbara gets geared up really well when it comes to environmental crises, when it comes to needing to roll up our sleeves and do this, because we already have that baked into us. So I'm so excited to be here with all of you and look forward to the conversation. Thank you.